Hi Bobby, it's me again, and hope yesterday's homework went good. Today should be Wednesday, the 2nd of March, and it's Wednesday, so I know you start dance at 4, so you might have to do some of this before you go to dance and some later on, because it's not that it's difficult, it just takes a little bit of time, okay? So today we're doing non-unit fractions times unit fractions. So yesterday we did unit fractions would be 1/4 times 1/5, right? But today we're doing like 1/4 times 3/5, okay? Same thing, we still multiply across to get the answer. So that'd be 1 times 3 is 3, and 4 times 5 is 20. So we have 3/20, yeah? But we have to use our rectangle to figure these out, okay? And then once again, anytime we see this word, what does it mean? Right, it means multiply, okay? So make sure you have your colored pencils and your regular pencils, because that comes in handy, and maybe a pen too for later on, okay? That'll help highlight what we need to see, okay? Alright, so let's get started. Move my papers out the way, and here we go. Homework 14, okay? So now, first question is 1/2 of 2/3, okay? So what do we need to do? We need to draw a rectangle. And what do we need to split it into? Into 3 pieces, so that's thirds, right? So you got 1, 2, 3. So this is where the colored pencil comes in handy. So we color in our 2/3, right? But now let's take a look at this real quick, right? We only need the part we've colored, so we can get rid of this. We don't need that, right? So how many thirds do we have? We have 2. So if you divide them in 2, so what is left? 1/3, right? So 1/2 of 1/3 equals of 2/3, sorry, equals 1/3. Now we can check that with math, so we do 1/2 times, because of means times, right? 2/3 equals 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. And look, 2 goes into the top and bottom, so we divide 2 by 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So the answer is 1/3. So we can write it. So we can write our answer of 2/3 equals 1/3. Okay? So let's go to question number 2. You can pause anytime if you need to think about it or catch up if I'm going too fast, okay? So now we need 1/2 of 4/3. Now actually, so probably this one we need 2 boxes, don't we? Because 4/3 is bigger than 1, right? It's 1 and 1/3. So let's draw 2 boxes this time. And this is 1, and this one would be 2. And what do we split them into? Into thirds. So we have 1. Okay, so how many thirds do we need? We need 4, right? So that's 1. So that's a whole thing here, right? And this one, yes? Okay. So how many thirds do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need half of that. So what is half of 4? You guessed it, it'd be 2. So we need these 2/3 right? That's 1, 2, and there's 3, 4. So you can say that 1/2 of 4/3 equals 2/3. Okay, so we can check that with math. So we do 1/2 times, because of means times, 4/3 equals 4. What's that? 4 times 6. Very good. 4 divided by 6, right? Now we can divide top and bottom by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we know our answer is 1/2 of 4/3 is half of 4/3 equals 2/3. Very good. Very good. Now if you need to pause any time to see what's going on, then you can, okay? So let's move on to the next one. So maybe you want to pause and try this one yourself. No, actually, let's do one of these first, because this is going to be slightly different. This is when we're going to start chopping the boxes up, okay? But at the same time, I want you to remember the first two, the way we did that, because we might need that later on, okay? So let's begin. So now we have 1/3 of 3/5. Now we kind of work backwards. So we need 1/3 of 3/5. So we're going to concentrate on the second one, which is the fifth. So we draw a box, and remember you have plenty of room. And we split that up into 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are fifths, okay? Because there's 5 pieces to make the whole one. So how many do we need? We need 3. So here's where our colored pencil comes in handy. So we color 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So now we need what of 3/5? We need 1/3. So how do we break this up into thirds? We have to make it into what? How many pieces? You got it, 3 pieces. So we make 3 pieces, okay? Oh, I forgot to label this. So this is what? 3/5. We label that, and we label this one 1/3. Okay? So now we need to find this section here, which is how many boxes? 3 boxes, okay? Can you see that? What I did, let me just draw this up. Okay? So we need to find out what this is out of the whole thing. So we continue our line across. And then now we need to find this, this, and this. Out of how many boxes? And remember, I prefer multiplication, right? So we have 1, 2, 3 down this way, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this way. So we have 3 times 5 is 15. So we have 3 out of 15, which is 3/15. So 1/3 of 3/5 equals 3/15. And can we reduce? Yes, because 3 goes into both numbers. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So it's 1/5. So let's check with multiplication. So we got 1/3 times, because of means times, 3/5 equals 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15 equals 1/5 when we reduce, right? Okay, very good. Now do you see the way we did that? So let's move on to the next one and see if we can do that. Now we have a box. So remember, we need to find half of the second number. So we need to set up with the second number. So what's that split into? 8. So we have a box. Remember, use lots of room because we have the room to do it, right? Split into how many pieces? 8 pieces, okay? So we do this. 8, easy to split. Go down the middle, then split this one in half, then split this one in half, and then split every one in half again. And that should be 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very good. Okay? So how many do we need? We need 6. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's here, right? So we label that 6 eighths. Okay? So let's use our colored pencil and we shade that in so we know what we're doing. So here we go. Okay, so now we need a half of that. So how do we make this half? We put a line where? Right down the middle, yes? And then we label this 1/2. So we need to know half of the whole, how much, oh, sorry. So we need to find out what this half is. So we need to find this section. Let me draw this section. And how many boxes in this section? Out of the whole thing. So we continue our line across and we count how many pieces. Now we have 1. I prefer multiplication, right? Rather than counting. So we have 1, 2 this way, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we know we have 2 times 8, which is what? 16. Very good. So we know we have, so how many pieces out of 16 do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 pieces out of 16, so that makes 6 what? 6 16. So 1/2 of 6 eighths equals 6 16ths. Alright? So let's check with math. So I forgot. We can, what number goes into both? Oh, that's an even number. So 2 goes into even number. So 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 16 divided by 2 is what? 8. Very good. So let's go there and check. So we have 1/2 times, because of means times, 6 eighths equals 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 8 is 16. And we do reduce. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And 16 divided by 2 is 8. Okay? Have you got that? So you think you want to pause and go on to the next one and do by yourself? You can, or you can follow along. So anyway, once again we have 1/3 times, well this time they didn't use the word of, because of means times, okay? So maybe we don't have to write it twice, we'll just do the multiplication, right? So this should go a little quicker now, okay? So here we go. So we concentrate on this because we need 1/3 of the 4/5, okay? So we need to make the 4/5. So we do our box. And how many pieces do we split it into? That's right, 5 pieces. So we 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 pieces, right? So how many of those 5 pieces do we need? We need 4. Very good. So colored pencil again. And let's shade in 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and don't forget to label. So we will label that 4/5. I hope you can see that I'm on top of the writing, yes? So now we need 1/3 of the 4/5. So what do we have to do? We have to split it into how many pieces? 3 pieces. Very good. So we split 1, 2. Okay, and we need this section down here, so we'll call that what? We'll call that 1/3. Very good, Tennille. Alright? So we need to find this section here. Well, how many boxes in this section? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to find out how many pieces of the whole thing we are. So we continue our lines across, and then we count how many boxes, yeah? So we have 1, 2, 3 this way, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that way. So we have 3 times 5 is 15, right? And out of 15, how many do we have in this section here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 out of 15, which is 4 15s, right? So let's do this. So 1 third times 4 fifths equals 4 15. So let's just check that with math. 1 third times 4 fifths equals, so 1 times 4 is 4. Could we go straight across, yes? 3 times 5 is 15. And we can't reduce that because it's kind of an odd number, okay? Let's move on to the last one of this type. So we have, well, take a look. Okay, so we learned about commutative properties. So take a look at this. This is 1 third times 4 fifths. And this one is 4 fifths times 1 third. Right? So what do you think? Do you think the answer will be the same? I don't know if you can see. Sorry. Do you think the answer will be the same? The numbers are the same. And remember, multiplication is commutative, so it doesn't make a difference what way we write the numbers. So let's see, but we'll do it this way. Okay? So here we start. Now, like I said, we need 4 fifths of 1 third, okay? So we concentrate on the second number, which is the third. So we draw our box and split it into how many pieces? You got it, 3 pieces to make thirds. Very good. Okay? So we need how many of those thirds do we need? We need 1. Very good. So we need just this one area. Okay? And we label that 1 third. Okay? Now, we need 4 fifths of that. So how many pieces do we have to split this section into? Into 5 pieces. Okay? So let's do that. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. Okay? And we'll label this one piece. Yep, now we need how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we label this 4 fifths, correct? So we need to find out how much this section is. These 4 fifths are out of the whole thing. So how do we do that? We continue our lines across. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we count how many boxes. So we know we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this way, and 1, 2, 3 that way. So 5 times 3 is 15, right? And out of that 15, we have how many boxes? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know we have 4 out of 15. So we have 4 fifths times 1 third equals 4 times 1 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 3 is 15. So we have the same answer here as we do here. Oh, so let's go back here for a second. We got to put our answers over here. So that was equals, what, 1 fifth? Yes? Oh, we have to write our sentence, right? So we need to do 1 third times 3 fifths equals 3 15ths equals 1 fifth, right? You can fill those in later on, okay? When you do your answers. Okay, so yes, we did. We ended up with the same answer for both, right? Because it's the same numbers, and it doesn't make a difference what order we write it in. Okay? So now we're on to word problems. So if mommy's not with you, hopefully mommy's here helping you, right? So now's a good chance to get mommy, okay? Because you may need her to explain to you what my line of thinking is, okay? So hold on a second. Okay, do you have mommy with you? You sure? Wait, I'll give you a chance. Hold on. Okay, so let's do our first word problem for today, okay? I know I kind of went over here a little bit, so hopefully you can see it. So it says, Sarah has a photography blog. 3/7, let me use a pencil, 3/7 of the blog are 3/7 of her photos on nature, and 1/4 of the rest, that's a key word, of means times, the rest are of her friends. What fractions of Sarah's photos are of her friends? Okay, so we know her blog is split into how many pieces? 7 pieces, because 3/7 of it is photos of nature and 1/4 of the rest is of her friends. So let's draw our rectangle, okay? Now, I want you to pause for a while. Don't draw it and just watch first, because I see something here, right? So if you remember how we did up here, kind of look at these and see what we see down here, because I see a pattern happening now, okay? So let's draw a rectangle. We'll probably do this 2 ways, yes? We got plenty of room, so draw one over the side, okay? So how many times we have to say we have to split this up into how many pieces? 7 pieces, you got it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me add one more. So that should be 7 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, good. Now, how many pieces were of her blog? 3 pieces, so that's 3/7, right? So we can label this 3/7, and let's write up here, that's the blog. Okay, so now we need to find 1/4 of the rest of her friends. So how many photos of her friends? Well, she's used up all this, right? Boom. So we're not worried about that anymore. So we're looking at this section here. These 4 pieces. Okay? Because that's the rest. She's used this. So let me just write this so you can see it better. So now, the whole thing, if we cut something into 7 pieces, the whole thing, is how many pieces? Is 7 over 7, right? So if she's used 3, how many pieces are left? So that'd be 7 minus 3 equals 4/7 over here. So this is 4/7, okay? Yes? So now take a look. You remember how we did up here? You remember this one and this one? Take a look. How many pieces is this split into? 4 pieces. So what is 1/4 of that? Will be 1 piece here, right? Yes? So that's what we need to find out, right? That's all we need to do is find that one. So we're using logic here. So we need that 1 piece, right? Now, this is 4/7, okay? So each one is what? 1/7. Very good. 1/7, 1/7, 1/7. So we can say, just using logic, that 1/4 of 4/7 equals 1/7, right? So we can do 1/4 of 4/7 equals 1/7, right? And we can check with math. So we can do 1/4 and times, because obvious, times 4/7 equals 1 times 4, because we multiply right across. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 7 is 28. And what can we divide both numbers by? By 4. 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 28 how many times? 7 times 4 is 28. So it's 7, see? So we end up with 1/7, okay? Now, if you're not sure, this is why I asked Mommy to be here, so she can explain if you're not sure. And that's okay, Babby. If you don't understand this way, we can do it the long way, okay? And we show you that you get the same answer. So let's start again. So we do our box. Right? And how many pieces we have to split it into? 7 pieces. So we split again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I still have to add 1 again. This is what I don't like when we do the big ones. Okay? Alright? So now, she uses how many for a block? So she uses 3 7s. And that's the blog, yeah? Blog. And this is the rest. R-E-S-T. So we know 7 7s minus 3 7s equals what? 4 7s, okay? So now, again, we're only concerned about this section, okay? So using our colored pencil, what area do we shade? We shade the rest, which is this side, okay? Very good. Okay, it's just so we can see. Now, we need a quarter of this, the rest, okay? So how do we do that? We split it into how many pieces? Into 4 pieces. Very good. So 4 is easy to split. So we go 1 down the middle and split the top half in half and then the bottom half in half. So we have 4 pieces, okay? And we label that 1/4. Yes? So we need to find out this section. And how many boxes in this section? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes? Okay, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. I counted ahead of myself. Okay? So we need to find out how much these 4 pieces are out of the whole thing. Okay? So how do we do that? We stretch our lines across. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now, this is a lot of boxes to count. So we'll just multiply. So let's count with me. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 this way. Yes? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that way. So we have 4 times 7 is 28. Right? So out of the 28 pieces we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 out of 28. So let me write down on this side, or let me see if I can write it down below. So we have 1/4 of, what do we say, 4 7s equals 4 of 28. Okay? So let's use multiplication. I'm going to do it down here because I'm running out of space, right? So we have 1/4 times 4 7s equals 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 7. Oh, I can't even see that. I'm running out of space so bad. 4 times 7 is 28. So we can reduce. And we have what? We can divide both numbers by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 28 divided by 4 is 7. So we have the answers 1/7 and 1/7. Okay? And let's move on to the next sheet. Let me pause for a second. Okay, Babby, so we're on to our second word problem. So we have 4 word problems. It's a little drawn out, but I think they go pretty quick because I think we can use some logic on these, okay? So anyway, so let's read this one. So it says, Lorita's Bakery, at Lorita's Bakery, 3/5 of the baked goods. So we can circle 3/5 of means times. The baked goods are pies. Okay? And the rest are cakes. And the rest are cakes. Very good. 1/3 of the pies are coconut, and 1/6 of the cakes are angel food cakes, right? Okay. Part A. What fraction of all the baked goods in Lorita's bakeries are coconut pies? Okay? So now, she's already split everything into fifths. So let's split this into fifths, okay? Because 3/5 of the baked goods are pies, right? So we know she split the whole group into fifths, okay? So let's draw. Now, this is why you need mommy here too, okay? Because I'm going to do this 2 ways because I see what's going to happen already. And we'll see which one works best for you, okay? And maybe mommy can then just explain the 2 differences to you, okay? So let's draw it here, right? So let's draw one box here. And how many pieces we have to split into? 5 pieces, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So we know that 3/5 are pies. Okay? So this is 3/5. 1, 2, 3 are pies. So let's write 3/5, and we label that pies. Right? Okay? So we look at this section here. Yes? And this is, so if we have 3/5, like 5/5 make the whole, so 5/5 minus 3/5, so then we know that this is 2/5, okay? This is 2/5. And this is, and the rest, so this is the rest, and the rest are cakes. So this section is cakes. C-A-K-E-S, okay? So now, but this first question we worried about, what fraction of the baked goods are coconut pies, okay? So let's just shade this because this is all we're worried about right now. So let's shade this whole thing, okay? Right? And let me just redraw the line so you can see it, okay? So, of the pies, we know from here, she said 1/3 are coconut pies, yes? And the question is, what fraction of all the baked goods are coconut pies? Right? So now, let's take a look at this. I need a piece of paper. Let me use a tissue, my favorite thing, and look at this. Okay? So now let's look. So we know that 1/3 of the pies are coconut pies, but how many pieces do we see here, Tennille? We see 3 pieces, so how many pieces will be coconut pies? It's 1/3, right? So 1/3 will be 1 section, yes? So now, how much is each section worth? We have 5 pieces, so how much is each piece worth? And that's what? 1/5. Very good. So we know that 1/3 of 3/5 equals 1/5. Right? And we can check that with math, right? And make sure we're correct. So we go 1/3 times, because times means of, 3/5 equals what? 1 times 3 is 3, because we multiply right across, yes? 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. And we can divide each number by what? By 3, very good. So we divide each one by 3, so 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. So we end up with 1/5. Okay? So if you're not sure about that, let's do it the long way then, yes? And that's okay if you don't see it this way, Tennille. There's two ways to do it. We can do it the long way. Sometimes it's easy to understand that way. So let's draw our diagram. Let's draw our diagram again. So all the bakery goods are split into fifths, okay? So we make it fifths. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So 3/5 are what? Pies. Oh, let's write the fraction here. 3/5. And up here we can say these are pies. P-I-E-S, right? So this section here. Yes? 3/5 of pies. And the rest are cakes. So we know that this is what's left is cakes, right? C-A-K-E-S. Okay? So, and if everything is fifths, we're using 3/5, so how many fifths are left? You got it, 2/5 are left. Okay? Alright. So now let's just color in this section again, the 3/5 that we need. Okay? And then we need 1/3 of the pie is a coconut. So this section, this pink section is the pie. So how do we split that into thirds? We split into 3 pieces, right? 1, 2, so we have 1, 2, 3. And we label this 1/3, okay? So we need to find out how many in this section here, right? Which is these boxes, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we need to find out how many pieces of the whole thing it is, so we extend our lines across. Okay, and then we count how many boxes. So we count them, so we have, this is a lot of boxes to count, so let's multiply. So we have how many boxes down this way? 1, 2, 3. And we have how many boxes that way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 times 5 is how much? 15. And how many pieces out of that 15 do we have? We have 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 out of 15, and that is 3/15. So we have 1/3 of 3/5 equals 3/15 equals. Now we reduce, right? And we say divide both by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 divided by 3 is 5, and we get up with 1/5. Now let's just check with math. 1/3 times, because time obvious means times, 3/5 equals 3/15 again, right? 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15 equals 1/5 when we reduce, right? So we got the same answer here. But see, if we look carefully, we can see, we got the same answer. So if we look carefully, we can do a lot of the work without, we can find the answer without doing a lot of the work. So now, question B is, what fraction of all the baked goods are Angel Food Cakes? And I'm going to tell you now, I know the answer already, right? And I'll tell you the answer now. I'll give you the answer. It's 1/15, right? And how do I know the answer? Well, you pause the video with Mommy and take a look at this diagram and tell me why I know the answer is 1/15 already. Alright? Yeah? You want to pause for a minute? Pause for a minute and discuss with Mommy. Okay, so looking at this diagram, did you guys figure out how I know the answer to this is 1/15 already? You do? Well, okay, in case you don't, we'll still do it the long way, okay? So now, let's do our diagram again. So we have all the bakery goods split into 5 pieces, yes? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 pieces, okay? So now, we use 3/5 for pies, yes? Pies. So what's left? So we have 5/5 minus 3/5, that leaves 2/5. So 2/5, yeah? And that's for cakes, okay? C-A-K-E-S. But this time, we're only worried about the cakes, okay? Which is this section here, which is 2/5, okay? So let's color that in. Do that real quick. Okay? So now, the question says, let me pull this down a little bit. It says, 1/6 of the cakes are angel food cake. And that's what we need to find out, angel food cake. So how do we split this into 6? How many times do we divide it up? We divide up into 6 pieces. Very good, Tennille. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And we label this, so we need 1/6. So we label this 1/6. Okay? So we need to find out what this section is. And there's 2 boxes in this section, this one and this one, okay? Yes, so let me draw this line so you can see, okay? So now we need to find out what's the value of these 2 boxes out of the whole thing. So let's continue our lines across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? So now we have to count how many boxes and see what the value is, right? So how do we do that? Well, we can add the boxes, but that's going to take all day. So we know, count with me, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 this way, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this way. So 6 times 5 is 30. So we know that 1/6 of, what was this? 2/5? 2/5 equals, what did we say? So we have 2 out of 30, right? Equals 2/30. Then we can look at the number and say, okay, 2 goes into both of them. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 30 divided by 2 is 15. So it's 1/15 our angel food cakes. And you'll notice over here, that's the answer I got. And how do you think I got the answer? Right? Well, let's look at this. Let's look at this section here, the cakes, right? It was right in front of our eyes all the time. See that section? That's the 2/5, that's the cakes. Now we already split it up. Look how many pieces it's split into. How many pieces is split into? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's split into 6 pieces already, right? And we need to find 1/6. So what would that be? That would be 1 box. Yes? So we already know, how many do we have here? We have 15 boxes, right? 1, 2, 3. Going down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 3 times 5 is 15. So we knew the answer all along was there because we could see it. So this section is 6 pieces, and 1 out of 6 is 1/6. So that's how I could see the answer from the get-go. Okay? Anyway, next question. Now, this looks like a lot, but actually, it might be quite simple when we see it. Okay? So let's do it real quick. Grandpa Mick opened a pint of ice cream. He gave the youngest child 1/5 of the ice cream, and his middle grandchild, let me circle that, 1/5, his middle grandchild a quarter of the remaining ice cream. Then he gave his oldest grandchild 1/3 of the ice cream that was left after serving all the others. Who got the most ice cream? How do you know? Draw a picture to support your answer, okay? Alright, so, well, he gave his youngest grandchild 1/5 first, so let's split the whole thing into fifths, okay? So let's go here. So this is the ice cream. It doesn't look like ice cream. And let's split it into how many pieces? 5 pieces. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So now, here's where we can use the pen, the colored pencil, and all 3 together, right? So, what did he do first? He gave the youngest 1/5 of the ice cream. Okay? So let's color this in. And let's use a Y for youngest, okay? Alright? So he gave him 1/5. And we label that 1/5, okay? Alright? Now here's where the tissue paper comes in again, alright? So he gave 1/5 to the youngest, right? Now what did he do next? He gave 1/4 of the remaining, so this is the remaining, yes? This section is what's left, remaining. He gave 1/4 of it to the middle grandchild, okay? So now what do you see here? How many pieces do you see, Tennille? You see 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's 1/4 of 4? Is 1 piece, right? So so we gave this, let's shade this. And let's put an M to the middle. So this is the middle grandchild, okay? Okay, so that's used up. And then he gave 1/3 to the oldest grandchild. So what do we see here? 1, 2, 3 pieces. So what is a third? So is this 3 pieces? So what? A third will be what? 1 piece. So let's shade this one. Right? And let's put an O in here for oldest grandchild. Okay? So, how do we know who got the most ice cream? Well, the answer should be staring you in the face, right? Look, so if we split into 5 pieces, so what's the value of all these pieces? Each one is how much? 1/5. 1/5. 1/5, 1/5. Because we know this is the whole, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/5. That makes everything. So let's look at it again. So he gave 1/5 to the oldest, to the youngest, right? He gave 1/4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So he gave 1 piece, 1/4 to the middle. And then he gave 1/3. There's 3 pieces. He gave 1/3 to the oldest, right? So therefore, and each section is 1/5, so who got the most? Nobody did. They all got the same. They all got 1/5 of the ice cream. Yep, I can't spell ice cream. So maybe mommy can help you understand that, right? Yes? So now we're on to the last section, and it says, what fraction of the pint of ice cream will be left if Grandpa Mick serves himself the same amount as the second grandchild? Well, the second grandchild would be what? The middle grandchild? So let's put a G here for Grandpa. Grandpa takes this section, right? So Grandpa eats that because he gets the same. Everybody got 1/5, right? Of the pie. So what's left when Grandpa's? Is 1 piece out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Grandpa got 1. Oh, so Grandpa got 1/5. So what is left? This part is left. So 1/5 left.